what do you think about the future of motorcycling, electric motorcycles? Would you ever buy one?
RevelatorAlf.
Or would you think, no, I'm never going to buy one?
No, I have to say, I came into motorcycling perhaps via a different route from everybody else. Perhaps I was, my dad barely figure out how to put the key in the ignition on a car, let alone know how to open the hood on it, as you English folks like to say. So I never had any of that gearhead mentality, never really understood how any of it worked. But I knew that I liked the coolness of it all, and I knew that I wanted to own this. I mean, I tell everybody the only reason I got into custom bike building was because it was the only way that the bike in my head was going to become the bike in my garage. So I basically had to learn everything that it took to get the bike I wanted to be the bike that existed. And turns out that I was fairly good at it, and I became able to machine and weld and do all of these things. I'm not an expert at any one of them, but I can do all of them well enough to create the bikes that I want to build.
So that was also, you were all self-taught on that as well, weren't you?
I had a sort of mentor back when or probably in the year or so before I started Exile Cycles, an old guy called Chuck Walker, who was a retired machinist, but he had a machine shop at the back of his garden. And again, brief side story, I'm full of them. I had designed a set of triple trees, or yokes, as you like to call them, and I needed them made, and everybody was quoting me, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to make. One-off machining is expensive, and these things like complex curves. So somebody told me about this bloke. I went to meet him, and I said, "Look, I want to make these triple trees. Here's my drawings. Here's the aluminum, big block of 1.5 inch aluminum, massive chunk. Can you do that for me?" He's like, "Well, maybe, but first step is we got to saw them up into triangles. Here's the die chem, here's the scriber, here's the saw, here's the on button. Don't cut your fingers off. Knock on the door when you're done it." So I cut them into triangles. He's like, "Well, next thing is we've got to bore the threaded holes. Here's the mill, here's the on button, here's how you think this is a tap." You know what I mean? And literally a month later, day in, day out, we had these triple trees. And like on the last hurdle, last day, turned the bloody handle on the mill the wrong way. The end mill went chumping into my beautiful triple tree, world's collapse. I'm like, almost in tears. And the other bloke in the machine shop was like, "What are you crying about?" Like, "Oh man, I've just ruined this thing. I've spent weeks making this part." And he's like, "Well, this is a welder." I'm like, "Yeah, but this is aluminum." He's like, "And you can weld aluminum? You can weld aluminum?" And so here's the on button, here's the thing, here's the hood, and boom, it's a whole new world. And so within several months of this meeting, I'd learned to weld and machine and basically and I know a lot of your viewers out there probably are out there in their garage or whatever with wrenches and whatever, but when you can operate a lathe and a mill and a welder, the entire world changes. It's like a revelation. It's like you can create anything. I mean, some of it's hard to do, and it'll take you a long bloody time, but you can make anything. There is no limitation anymore. So, for a while, when Exile was getting off the ground, before I could afford to buy a mill and a lathe, I would literally just rent time off this bloke and go and use his machine shop. Typically on a Saturday, I'd save up all the machining I had to do and go over and what have you. So he was. And I've, my catalog is still dedicated to him. He was sort of my mentor, my teacher, my inspiration at some level, because he was just, some old bloke that, had a machine shop in his back garden and lived like a hermit and made whatever the hell he wanted to and diddled with this, that, and the other. So, but other than that, no formal education whatsoever. And can only imagine what a powerful force I would have been had I spent all them years I did in vet school actually learning to do something useful. You know what I mean? I mean, a mechanic or a design engineer or something, but no. So self-taught almost all the way. And then back to your electric bike question, because I once again went off on a tangent.
That's great. No.
Love tangents, me. I would very much own one. I've got to say, because that's where we came in. Because I'm not a gearhead, I don't have that inseparable love of the gasoline engine that so many they'll fucking burn me on the stake if they catch me saying this, because they all grew up with muscle cars and their dads wrenching on the Camaro in the driveway, but I didn't have that. And I really like the idea of that silent, incredibly torquey power, like zooming along on Harry Potter's broom. You know what I mean? I think that's fantastic. I haven't yet got into the whole electric car thing, but it's coming. I mean, I know it's coming over there. I see them on the M5 when I'm, or the M4 when I'm heading from Heathrow to my mum's, and but over here, Tesla's taking California by storm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Every day, just more and more and more Teslas, and everybody that owned one absolutely raves about it. Would never dream of going back to anything else. So I'm sorry, world at large, it is coming, and I'm afraid we are at the end of an era. We are at the end of an era. You and I will ride it out, but my youngest kid, there won't be hot rods or Harleys, not V-twin 2000cc gas guzzling Harleys when he's my age, or when he's retiring. You know what I mean? It is all changing. And like it or not, I fear that we are going to have to learn to accept that, electric power might be the way of the future. Whether I ever mess with it or no, it's coming. You know what I mean? And I'm not, I'm not wishing it along. I hate change. You know what I mean? I wish Harley was still making the bloody Evolution Softails where you knew where everything was and you could do everything, and fuel injection was never invented, and so on and so forth. It just makes everything so much more complicated for what we want to do. But electric's coming, and I don't think there's much we can do about it.
Okay. Right. Well, I think you're right. I mean, I totally agree, actually. I mean, if you'd asked me about 3 or 4 years ago about electric bikes, I would have gone, nah, no chance. I'm not having any of that. But now I'm very pro. I'm very accepting that that's the future. So, why fight it, really?
And not to harp on it, but it's absolutely in its infancy. But already, some of those bikes at zero are turning out. And even the Livewire. Good looking bikes. You know what I mean? They're good looking bikes. Okay. Oh yeah, but you can't go more than 100 miles. Okay, you can't go more than 100 miles this year. But that's this year. You know what I mean? 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? How far can you go on your Sportster? How far can you go with your 65-year-old bones before you need to get off and stretch anyway? You know what I mean? How far do you really ride every week? You know what I mean? In reality, you know what I mean? I don't. I probably only did 100 miles yesterday on my Sunday shit mucking about. I could have probably done it on a Livewire and still had enough charge to get up the pub last night. So I don't want to sound like a proponent, but it is coming, and it's only the bikes are going to look better, they're going to function better, and you can kick and scream all you like, but coming.